Good evening and welcome. You're watching 6 p.m. Prime. I'm Pooja Shali and today I anchor a special bulletin because there is in all likelihood history set to be made in just a short while. I'll be getting you all the latest on that. First, the headlines. The opposition parties are split wide open over the election of the Vice President now. The Trinamool Congress to abstain from voting. Mamata's party appears furious over not being consulted over Margaret Alva's nomination. Sonia Gandhi's ED grilling in National Herald case concludes for the day. Sonia Gandhi has been questioned for over 3 hours by the ED, likely to be summoned again on 25th July. But the Congress protest over it has turned violent in Bengaluru, Hyderabad and even Chandigarh. Vehicles were torched, 3 trains were also stopped in Delhi. It's a war of words over Sonia Gandhi's ED questioning. ED is claiming that Sonia's questioning was concluded after 3 hours on request. Congress MP P. Chidambaram claims Sonia Gandhi offered to stay post 3 p.m. but the ED had no questions. Meanwhile, it is Mamata Banerjee's mega roar for 2024 polls on TMC Martyrs Day. Says people mandate will dislodge the BJP. Hits out at the centre says don't scare us by using the ED.
आप हमको बंद करके नहीं रख सकते हैं कि हमको भी झुकता नहीं है. हमको ईडी से मत डराओ, हमको सीबीआई से मत डराओ, हमको रुपया बंद करने से मत डराओ. ऐसा बात मत करो.
A Bajrang Dal member has been stabbed by 13 men in Madhya Pradesh's Agar for supporting Nupur Sharma. A case of attempt to murder and rioting has been registered. She is New India's Droupadi who can dream, and her dream will come true in the democracy that India is. Remember coming from an Odisha village in Rairangpuri to the corridors of the Raisina Hill now. Rashtrapati Bhavan is all set to open doors to Madam President. The first tribal president that she's set to become, a woman, and she will now soon occupy the top constitutional post in all likelihood. Remember, every young girl watching this right now and watching Droupadi Murmu, especially if coming from marginalized tribal groups, will know today that she too can become India's president someday. Or any Indian citizen from any community is today reminded that they too can dream the big dream, and with hard work and resilience, this achievement is possible. We start our bulletin today with the details that are coming in from the ground. Droupadi Murmu is all set to become India's first tribal president. The NDA is leading after the second round of counting. Droupadi Murmu has got over 4.83 lakh votes compared to 1.89 lakh votes for the opposition candidate. And that is Yashwant Sinha. One more round of counting, however, is still left. Once the results are fully declared, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will likely meet Droupadi Murmu after that official announcement. But the preparations are already underway at the Delhi BJP state headquarters for a victory celebration as and when that official announcement comes. People have already started to celebrate at Murmu's hometown, Rairangpur in Odisha, and expectedly so, it is their girl of the soil from the village in Odisha.
These posters and banners are hung on the gates of Droupadi Murmu's school over here in Rairangpur, where she was a teacher. And right now, if you look at the visuals, the kids over here, they are rejoicing, they are dancing to tribal music, as Droupadi Murmu might be the country's first tribal president. Now, tribal president from the tribal community. Over here, students are dancing, and what we'll do is, we will just go and speak to these students. आप लोगों को पता है द्रौपदी मुर्मू कौन है?
हाँ, पता है. हमारे स्कूल में वो बड़ा टीचर है.
अच्छा, और वो प्रेसिडेंट बनेंगी?
हाँ.
और आप लोग क्या उसी लिए डांस कर रहे हो?
हाँ.
So these kids know that who Droupadi Murmu is and what is the essence of this particular day over here in Rairangpur. We'll ask Mr. Patnaik, who's the administrator over here. Sir, ये प्लान क्या आप लोगों का था कि स्टूडेंट्स का था?
स्टूडेंट्स का स्पॉन्टेनियस रिएक्शन था. जो एक टीचर थे मैडम द्रौपदी मुर्मू, आज जो प्रेसिडेंट बन गए देश की, इसीलिए वो खुश में वो जो मना रहे हैं.
The administrators, the teachers, the kids are extremely happy that Droupadi Murmu was a part of their school at one point of time, and they are more happier because she might just become the next president of this country. With camera person Kiranji, this is Surya for India Today, Rarangpur, Odisha.
And of course, many people will want to know what the family and the friends of Droupadi Murmu would want to say the moment that official announcement comes forth. My colleague Paulomi Saha is right now at Murmu's Delhi residence. I want to quickly go across to her in this live telecast. Paulomi, what does it look like? Because in Delhi, there is of course a certain sentiment, but even in Odisha, where Suryagini right now is in Rangpur, and I'll go across to him as well. Let's begin first with what Delhi is looking like today.
That's right. The BJP, of course, is planning a mega celebration for, of course, the results which will be declared in a short while from now, Pooja. As you can see, the arrangements have been made over here. This is the stage which has been erected over here inside the temporary residence of Droupadi Murmu in Delhi. In fact, this is where she's been staying since, of course, the BJP announced her as their presidential candidate. You can already see that what that board actually reads is Abhinandan Nav Nirvachit Mananiya Rashtrapati Srimati Droupadi Murmu. So basically they've declared that she is in fact the new president that India is to get very, very shortly. So BJP has made all of these arrangements. This tent has been put up over here. You can see the number of media personnel that are present over here, because in a short while from now, as soon as the results are officially declared by the Rajya Sabha Secretary General, who is also the returning officer for this election, the Prime Minister will arrive over here, and he will of course be the first dignitary to officially congratulate Droupadi Murmu on her win in this election. And then of course there will be a beeline of VVIPs, including the Home Minister, the Defence Minister and many others who will come over here. And then eventually Droupadi Murmu will come on this particular stage, where she will be officially felicitated by the party and party workers and MPs who are likely to arrive over here after the Prime Minister has seen her.
So Paulomi will be bringing us that big culmination, historic in so many ways, in the national capital Delhi, where arrangements have been made. But from where it all started, from a village in Rangpur in Odisha, Suryagini is right there. He's been talking to a lot of enthusiastic children who perhaps only know Suryagini, that someone from their village is all set to now take the top constitutional position. But what's precisely the sentiment on the ground? Like Delhi, is there also a similar mega celebration planned in the village in Rangpur?
Well, you know, the celebration had been happening for a while now, and right now what we do see is, if I just show you around, this is a house. A lot of people have left because they want to conduct a Tiranga rally when the result is declared. But right now, what you will see is a lot of women, mostly from the nearing houses, be it over here or in and around. I'll just go and speak to them. Didi, Droupadi Murmu शायद राष्ट्रपति बन जाएंगी, ये सुना है आप लोगों ने? हाँ हाँ। और ये इसीलिए क्या सब सच के यहाँ पे आ गए हो? हाँ। ये आप लोगों ने कभी बात की, जानते थे द्रौपदी जी को? हाँ, हम जानते थे। कैसी थी वो? मतलब रिलेशन कैसा था? मतलब हम लोगों का घर है इसी पास में ही है, इसीलिए हम लोग अप्रोचेबल थी, बात करती थी लोगों के साथ? हाँ हाँ, बहुत अच्छी थी दीदी। हाँ। See, a lot of kids are also there. I was speaking to kids in the morning. Then we spoke to a lot of adults. Droupadi Murmu कौन है, जानती हो? Droupadi Murmu?
Rashtrapati.
Okay, you got that answer, Pooja.
How
Droupadi
amazing.
Murmu कौन है? And the answer was Rashtrapati. So this is the emotion. This is the emotion that I have been seeing since last evening, ever since I came over here, and everyone, irrespective of their political thinkings or ideologies, they believe the fact that Droupadi Murmu has done a lot for this particular area of Rangpur, and her journey from Rangpur to Raisana Hills is a duly apt one, and she deserves it. This is what everyone
one
in this
can only imagine,
so.
Suryagini, isn't it, that for the Santhal tribal community, what would it mean for this moment? While, opposition has been attacking that perhaps the president position doesn't mean much, ask the community there in Odisha what a historic moment it actually means for them to be represented at Raisana Hill. Paulomi Saha at the Delhi residence, where there's also a mega celebration being planned by the BJP because they had come forth as NDA and mentioned and nominated the candidate. But Paulomi, for a viewer also, while Yashwant Sinha was perhaps a more visible name as a former minister in the national scenario, Droupadi Murmu is also just not a person who's been brought as a mention. She's been an MLA, a governor, formerly a teacher as well. She's had her share of struggles and hard work to reach where she has today.
Absolutely. You know, Droupadi Murmu's may have been a low-profile career or a life which many may not have known before, of course, she was announced by the NDA as their nominee for the presidential elections. But Droupadi Murmu's career, one, has been blemish-free. It has been completely clear of any sort of controversy. And she's grown from, you know, the very humble beginnings where she started from in terms of course, you know, first being, of course, a teacher, you know, but the way she completed her education in itself is quite commendable, because there were only, you know, Sriyagni has been reporting as to how limited the facilities of education were in Rairangpur, where she, of course, hails from, in Mayurbhanj district of Odisha. So she had to then go to Bhubaneswar in order to complete her education. Then she became a teacher, then, of course, a councillor, and then, of course, entering the Odisha Legislative Assembly. And she was also a minister in the BJP-BJD government, which was in power for a few years. She also held a cabinet berth in that government in Odisha as well, before, of course, the BJP then, of course, moved her as governor of Jharkhand. You know, many, in fact, spoke about the sort of support that Hemant Soren, who seemed to be part of the, you know, the opposition camp, has given to, of course, Droupadi Murmu. The fact is that many talk about the fact that she is the tribal woman, and hence Hemant Soren, in fact, extended his support. But also, what many within the GMM camp will tell you is about the fact that Droupadi Murmu, despite her low profile, has a voice of her own. So even when she belonged to the BJP, and the BJP, of course, made her governor of Jharkhand, when the BJP government was in power in Jharkhand, Raghubar Das.
And follow me as we talk of politics right now. Apart from this journey, personal to Droupadi Murmu, there's already massive politics with the counting that's coming up. We have some big news coming in. Let's cut across to that, because the Bharatiya Janata Party has made a big claim on the presidential election, of which counting is currently underway. Top BJP sources are telling India Today. 17 opposition members of parliament, 17, have cross-voted in their favor, in the favor of Droupadi Murmu, even if the opposition parties had, remember, mentioned and nominated the name of Yashwant Sinha. The BJP had calculated 523 member of parliament votes that were expected to be polled in their candidate's favor, but she's got 540. They were expecting 523. They've got 40 as the counting is now taking place across the country. And we have big news that has come from the political corridors as well. I want to quickly take that to Follow Me as well. Follow Me, it will also be very interesting, because even if the NDA was expecting a victory with Droupadi Murmu, if the opposition has in fact voted for them, for Droupadi Murmu and not Yashwant Sinha, it shows the opposition is in complete disarray.
Absolutely. You know, already just a short while ago, we've reported about the fact how the Trinamool Congress has decided to abstain from the vice president elections that are to happen on the 6th of August. This is because obviously they cannot extend support to the NDA's candidate and West Bengal Governor Jagdeep Dhankar.
All right, so we'll be tracking the big news coming in. Follow me, stay on with me. Droupadi Murmu all set to become first tribal president for the country, the 15th president, and all said that announcement is to be made. I want to now quickly go across to our news director Rahul Kaval with the special telecast. Rahul, over to you.
The Congress party out in force on the streets of the national capital and elsewhere, alleging that the Modi government was misusing central agencies. Joining us now on this broadcast, senior Congress leader from Rajasthan, Sachin Pilot. He was amongst those who were protesting. He was detained as well during this protest. The BJP says you are making this a big song and dance, when what should really happen is that the person who's accused should come and present themselves before the investigative agencies. Why then turn this into some kind of a Congress satyagraha? Mr. Pilot, welcome.
Thank you. There are two things I wish to say. One, this country is facing a severe crisis of high inflation, especially food inflation, huge unemployment, the economy is in doldrums, the dollar is rising against the rupee. And despite all these pertinent issues that we think are people's issues, the government is trying to sidetrack the topic of discussions to the agencies and ED and CBI income tax. What we did today was protest against the misuse of the government agencies. I think it's important to point out that Mr. Rahul Gandhi and Mrs. Sonia Gandhi have subjected themselves to any questions, any clarifications that they want, and she did go when someone was there. She's 75, she's unwell, they could have come home to take a statement, but anyway, she went there. Point is that if you're in opposition of the BJP and the government of India, then all hell will break loose. They will try and demoralize you, try and point fingers at you. The idea is to not allow the voice of the opposition to muffle the voice of anyone who opposes the government of India. That's the clear track record of these agencies for the last 7 years. It's not a secret, the world knows, and we in the opposition are within our rights, Rahul, to protest, to do a non-violent protest, to do a Gandhian way of marches, dharnas, petitions, protests, sit-ins. That's what we do in democracy. You will not use brute force to disallow us even that much. That's not good and healthy for any democracy, especially one that is as vibrant as India.
No, but one of the instances that the BJP cites is of Chief Minister Narendra Modi going and presenting himself before an SIT, sitting all day. They say we didn't turn it into a big tamasha, we didn't have people, which could have been done at that time, out in the streets protesting. We went and followed the due course of law, which is why they are calling this, Mr. Pilot, not a satyagrah, but a gunagrah.
No, that's absolutely wrong, because you can't compare the two events. One, this case that has been now brought into light after many years, after maybe 10 years or so, is because they feel now is the right time to divert the attention of the people of India and the media, of course. Because today people are asking questions. Look at the job losses, look at the chaos after the farm law bills were withdrawn, look at what this Agniveer is creating chaos in all over India. The economy is really in a bad shape and there is no sign of recovery. So when you don't answer the tough questions, you try and divert the attention on religious issues, on caste issues, then on attacking the opposition. So I think it's wrong to compare, and Mrs. Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi have never said no. They have always answered those questions. They've gone and presented themselves to the ED and any other questions that were asked of them. But we are trying to make the people of India realize that all these central agencies, their job is not to investigate but to target opposition. And especially the Congress party. Entire opposition leaders, if you're against the BJP ideology, then you become an easy prey and target for all these agencies. Anyone who supports the government is let off go. I mean, they go scot-free. So this track record is absolutely transparent to see that the misuse, the blatant misuse of these agencies is now out in the open. And we are against that, because in an institution like India, like a democratic setup, you can't undermine institutions, you can't politicize them, you can't misuse them to meet your political ends. And our demonstration today was just that. We were protesting outside our own party office, which had turned into a full cantonment, and then outside our own office we were picked up and taken to a police station. We were kept the whole day there. I think this is not the way a functional democracy, a robust democracy should function. The government of India should have the patience to listen, accept if there are faults, and really not use these agencies just to suit their political agendas.
Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi both out on bail at this moment. That is the reality that the BJP keeps throwing in your face. Also the fact that it took an issue as personal as this, of the Gandhi family being summoned by the Enforcement Directorate for the Congress to come out in the streets in these numbers, not coming out on other critical issues. Some of those issues that you mentioned didn't seem to agitate the Congress quite as much as the charge against your top leaders.
That's unfair, Rahul, because across the country, Congress party, whether we in government or in opposition, we have always taken up people's issues. There's not a single issue, farmers' issues, young people's issues, migrant issues, post-corona, the kind of healthcare breakdown that we had. Congress party was in the forefront. Now, Mrs. Gandhi being questioned, obviously is big news for everybody. That's why all your focus is on what the Congress party workers are doing across the country. But I can assure you that whenever there's been a demand by the public, an issue that is related to the people of India, we've always been there. And today also, it's not about one person, it's not about the Congress party alone. It's about how the opposition is being targeted, the entire spectrum of opposition. It's not a benign interference. It's a very harsh attacking and, to do character assassination, to point fingers, to defame, to demoralize. That sort of thing is not acceptable in a country like India. Right? Vipaksh to pehle bhi tha na, there was opposition before also. But the treatment that the government is giving to the opposition today, we've never seen this before. And I think it's important for us to raise our voice. Why can't we speak out? Why are we not being allowed to say what we want and protest in a way that's Gandhian, that's non-violent? That much we should be allowed to do.
Okay, we'll leave it there for the time being. Mr. Sachin Pilot, for joining us on this broadcast. Thank you very much.
So right now we go back to the announcement that's all set to become in just a short while. Droupadi Murmu set to become India's first tribal president. These are the latest visuals coming in on your screen, because remember, the Bharatiya Janata Party has planned mega celebrations to come forth and of course express how the candidate that the NDA had put forth has now managed to become the president. Now the counting is still on. The NDA is leading after the second round of the counting. Droupadi Murmu has got over 4.83 lakh votes compared to 1.89 lakh votes for the opposition candidate. And that's of course Yashwant Sinha, former minister in the government. One more round of counting, however, is left. Once the results get fully declared, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is scheduled to meet Droupadi Murmu after that official announcement. But preparations already are underway at the Delhi BJP headquarters for a mega celebration. You can already see hundreds of people have gathered with the tricolour. Everyone's been watching and tracking the latest developments coming in. And of course, there will be a loud cheer and celebration expected, a lot of laddus and mithais to be relished once the announcement is made. But there are celebrations that already have started in Odisha, from where Droupadi Murmu hails from the Rairangpur village specifically, that is her hometown. People have already started the celebrations in different parts of the country as well. As you can see, people are enjoying the laddus and the mithais, the dance and dhol. And while in Delhi, they're just waiting for that official announcement to, of course, the firecrackers, and the enjoyment and the celebration will start in Delhi as well. Remember that while Yashwant Sinha was the opposition's presidential candidate, it was the BJP clearly one by one also making a very strong pitch. Even whether it was to the Biju Janata Dal, the Odisha Chief Minister, to other parties as well, one by one they managed to get numbers on their side. But now it's even got very interesting. The BJP is now even claiming that they were only expecting 528 votes of the members of parliament. By now, it appears to have gone to 540, which means they have witnessed an unexpected jump. And the BJP believes that it's likely coming from the opposition camp for Droupadi Murmu. Now, just to give you a background, remember, Droupadi Murmu has been a former teacher. She's been a former MLA, a councillor. She definitely has rich experience in administration and governance as well, because she's been a governor of the state of Jharkhand. And the state has progressed under her leadership as well. But the fact is that for a tribal leader from Rairangpur in Mayurbhanj district of Odisha, which is close to the Jharkhand border, for her to now become the president of the country, just imagine how inspiring it is for thousands of women and young girls, or anyone actually, whether it's from Odisha or Jharkhand or across the country, to know that anyone can possibly have this dream and work toward it, and the doors will be open. You're looking at three visuals of celebration, but you're also looking at, I believe that is a previous visual of Droupadi Murmu being greeted at a public location. Now these three visuals clearly signify the happiness, and you know, one would want to say, sure, the BJP will want to celebrate, but is it just about a political party or the ones or other parties who are supporting Droupadi Murmu, but is it also about a general appreciation of representation at the Raisina Hill from the tribal community? And a woman, I must mention here, has worked her way up. The opposition may want to say with either Droupadi Murmu, or there may be critics saying that the president's position is a rubber stamp. But when a woman of the caliber of Droupadi Murmu, who's not only won consecutive assembly elections, has managed to brace her way up, also battling multiple personal challenges to reach where she has. Giving you a background about her personal life as well, Droupadi Murmu lost her two sons and husband in a personal tragedy. And yet she has managed to support and ensure that her daughter, the surviving daughter, gets the best education and upbringing, while she also involves herself in public life. Getting elected one by one in assembly elections, becoming a Mantri. In fact, she was also in 2007, if I'm correct, the Odisha Assembly also had awarded her the Neelkant Award for the best MLA of the year. So she is a woman who comes from perhaps the most marginalized group and has worked her way up through struggle, and ensuring her courage and bravery is for all to see. So when you look at Droupadi Murmu, don't just think of a nomination that has come from the political corridors, which of course it is. There is a messaging that the BJP or the NDA is trying to send out. But after Ramnath Kovind, now Droupadi Murmu signifies that India is giving opportunities to one and all, and that needs political will, not fear or favor. Lovely scenes of dance and celebration by the supporters of Droupadi Murmu, many from the community she hails from. But the dance has already started. Look at this woman clearly enjoying herself while the dhol and dhamaka around her is only beginning to start. And we're just waiting in the national capital, Delhi, where the political parties are also, specifically the BJP, with the banners and the flags, for the official announcement. And just to give you a background, that the counting is currently underway. In the second round, Droupadi Murmu has been leading, but there's also one more round left for any official confirmation. Till now, what we know so far is that Droupadi Murmu, who's the NDA presidential candidate, has got 4.83 lakh votes, and Yashwant Sinha, who's the opposition presidential candidate, has got 1.89 lakh votes. So one more round is still left. The announcement of the previous round came just about a short while ago. And that is when the celebration started in Rairangpur in Odisha. We'll try and get our reporters also on the ground to help you understand the latest. But in many ways, of course, it is a political messaging by the NDA that whether it is a presidential candidate from the Dalit community, like previously, or whether it is from the tribal community, that they will be putting forth names which talks of empowerment, aspirations, and importantly, inspiration as well. And for Droupadi Murmu herself, take a look at that. As many call her from the people who've known her locally as well in Odisha, that she's been simple, soft-spoken, but absolutely strong in her spirit as she has led herself in her public life. Remember winning 2 consecutive assembly elections, managing to become a minister, and she was also basically, just to give you a background, it was actually 1997 when Droupadi Murmu quit a government job, which is usually considered secure, to successfully contest a councillor's election in 1997, and that is when she also became a part of BJP's Scheduled Tribes wing. Then she got elected to Odisha Assembly, becoming Minister of State, independent charge for Commerce and Industry, and the Fisheries and Animal Resources Development Minister. Then she managed to get into the assembly elections as well, winning it, becoming a part of the assembly. It is to help you understand, to know who Droupadi Murmu has been, because unlike Yashwant Sinha, who's had a very public profile, has had an image that many have been aware of as a former minister in the union government, Droupadi Murmu, to many perhaps, would have lived a low profile had it not been now for this mention. Paulami Saha is at the Delhi residence, where the political parties have organized a mega celebration. Paulami, what does the place look like right now? Do we see a lot of decorations that have been put forth? Are the sweets already being distributed? Or they're just trying to play cautious right now, let the final announcement come?
Well, they are, of course, making arrangements over here, Pooja, for, of course, a grand celebration that they hope to have, and a grand felicitation program that they hope to have for Ms. Droupadi Murmu as soon as the results are declared. Obviously, they're very confident of the win that she is slated to secure for herself. And as you can see over here, that dais has been put up over there, and a chair has been put out over there on it, which, of course, Droupadi Murmu will be sitting on, and the big banner behind that throne, so to say, says Abhinandan Nav Nirvachit Mananiya Rashtrapati Srimati Droupadi Murmu. So clearly the BJP is absolutely certain who the next president of India is going to be, certain of their victory, and hence they've made these grand arrangements and preparations over here at the temporary residence of Ms. Murmu, which she occupied here in Delhi after she was announced as the NDA's nominee for the presidential elections on the 21st of June. She has been staying over here and of course campaigning across the country, trying to secure votes for herself, and it looks like she has secured more than enough votes for herself, not just from the NDA camp, and there could have been possibly some cross-voting from the opposition as well, securing and in fact making this victory for the NDA.
Follow me, do tell us this, because you cover the Bharatiya Janata Party and the government also closely. What do you think has worked for Droupadi Murmu here? Because Yashwant Sinha was clearly in many ways the bigger known face. He's been a former finance minister in the government. He's been in the public life, at least in the sense that his image was comparatively well known compared to Droupadi Murmu for many. But what do you think helped the NDA clinch the numbers, and now they're claiming even the opposition here with regard to Droupadi Murmu becoming Madam President in all likelihood?
Well, Pooja, to be fair, the opposition didn't stand a chance even before they announced their candidate, because the NDA's numbers were such that they were well poised to win this election already. They were falling short just by a few thousand votes, which clearly they got when they secured the support of the BJD and the YSRCP, to be precise. They got those numbers and they were comfortably poised and seated in order to ensure Droupadi Murmu's victory. So that definitely has been a huge factor as far as Droupadi Murmu's win is concerned. But as far as Droupadi Murmu's win is concerned, also why nobody saw any reason not to possibly, like if we speak to the BJD or the YSRCP, who are not officially NDA but have extended their support to the NDA's nominee. They will basically say that she, of course, is a low-profile political candidate, but the fact is that she, in fact, can be India's first tribal president, and that's a huge boost as far as society and how things are viewed is concerned. The fact that she, in fact, started from humble beginnings and worked her way up into the position that she is in today, where she is slated to become the 15th president of the country. That's a long journey that she's taken, which has been, in fact, bereft of any sort of controversy, any sort of ill decisions that she's taken. She's worked her way up and worked hard, in fact, in order to secure this position that she finds herself in today. So that is why the support that was extended by the BJD, by the YSRCP, as well, and also by the JMM. Earlier when we were talking about this, everyone thinks Hemant Soren, of course, who's seen as a member of the opposition camp, him extending support to Droupadi Murmu is about the tribal factor. Well, it is importantly about the tribal factor, but also if you speak to people within the JMM, they will tell you that Droupadi Murmu, for however low a profile you think she has a voice of her own. She was a BJP member, and then she was made a governor in Jharkhand, at that time holding a constitutional position. But when the BJP was in power, Raghuvar Das was the chief minister, he sent her a few bills and she had objections, and she returned those bills on the objections raised by the opposition, which was Hemant Soren at that point of time, and she thought that they were valid arguments which were being raised by the opposition. So she's no rubber stamp really, as is being projected by the opposition. She had some questions, she sent it back to the government and asked them to look at those bills once again. So when
Droupadi Murmu and the announcement comes for her to now become the first tribal president, 64 years old Droupadi Murmu is currently leading, as you can see the numbers there on your screen, as opposed to Yashwant Sinha. Follow me, on schedule is also Prime Minister Narendra Modi to meet Droupadi Murmu. Any scheduled time for it? Or of course that will depend as and when the announcement comes of the final round. But that could be the highlight of that mega celebration, because the Prime Minister Modi was also present right when Droupadi Murmu was filing her official nomination papers.
That's right. That is, of course, going to be the highlight of this evening, as the Prime Minister Modi will be the first dignitary to arrive over here at Droupadi Murmu's residence in Delhi in order to congratulate her and felicitate her on her victory. He is not going to be on the stage over here, so he's not going to be part of the official felicitation program. He's going to just go into the residence and, privately, of course, then, of course, extend his congratulations to her. Those pictures, of course, we will get for you as they arrive. So he will be the first dignitary who will be congratulating her, and eventually you will have the Home Minister, the Defence Minister, Cabinet Ministers arriving over here. Several MPs, we were told, had already arrived during the day in order to extend their congratulations to Droupadi Murmu, but they were told that, she will not be seeing anyone until the official results are declared. So the Prime Minister will be arriving over here as soon as the results are declared. He's not going to come here before that, so there's no specific timing. It totally depends on, of course, the counting process as it happens in Parliament. The minute those results are officially declared by the returning officer, the Secretary General of Rajya Sabha, the Prime Minister will head out from his residence, or from Parliament, I believe he is where he is right now, in order to arrive over here at Droupadi Murmu's residence. And eventually during the day, during the evening, course of the evening, you will see the returning officer along with the CEC, also Mr. Rajiv Kumar and the other election commissioners arrive over here with the official certificate of victory for Droupadi Murmu.
Stay on with me, follow me, because I want our viewers to take a look, and these are absolutely amazing, lovely visuals. Remember one, of course, of Droupadi Murmu previously also interacting at different occasions, but for people who've known her or may not even have known her, come from the same community that she does. She's a Santhal tribal, and her hometown is Rairangpur in Odisha, where you can see the drums and music and dance is already out. For many, it will be a big historic moment for representation. Remember, from coming from that village in Odisha, to dream, to work hard, and to be walking on the corridors of Rashtrapati Bhavan is no small achievement by any means. And therefore now I want to go across to from where this journey started. Suryagini Roy is right now in Rairangpur, which is the hometown of Droupadi Murmu, and that's where the journey had started it, where we can see young girls, all they can say right now that they know that wo Rashtrapati hai, wo president hai. So that little realization perhaps not yet would be sinking in, but Suryagini, we understand they are preparing a mega celebration there, but do tell us about what does it mean for men, women, for people who have known her, not known her, but to know that it's their village today being discussed in national media and across the country, because a girl from that village is going to become the president of the country.
Well, Pooja, I'll let the pictures speak. Look at this, women over here. They are dancing in front of Droupadi Murmu's house in a traditional way. We'll ask them, ये Droupadi Murmu जब यहाँ से निकल कर राष्ट्रपति बनने की कगार पर है, ये इस क्षेत्र के, इस गांव के महिलाओं के लिए कितना बड़ा मैसेज है, क्या है ये?
बहुत बड़ा मैसेज है। इस महिलाओं के लिए इतना बड़ा मैसेज है कि उन्होंने सबको प्राउड कर दिया कि मैं एक लेडी होके इतनी बड़ी पोस्ट पे हूँ, तो हम लोग सब गर्व करते हैं लेडी।
कितनी खुशी है द्रौपदी मुर्मू आपके यहाँ से निकलकर?
बहुत खुशी है, बहुत खुशी।
बहुत खुशी है। कभी मिली हो आप उनसे? क्या बातचीत होती थी?
हम सही की सब बड़ा जान।
So I didn't understand what she said, because that was their language, but the smile.
But Suryagini, their laughter said it all.
Volumes, Pooja, and
yes.
As.
Go ahead, Suryagini.
Says it all. Absolutely, you don't need to comprehend everything that the person speaks. These people are dancing. Look at. I'll just ask my camera person to just pan across and just show you. We saw young guys dancing. We saw middle-aged people dancing, and right now it's the women folk.
Yes.
They're all house. Mostly they're from houses nearby, and all happy faces, and that is your little child, who was very, very happy when we asked her who Droupadi Murmu is, and her reply was Rashtrapati. This is the house of the president, right, of the president candidate so far, and
so Suryagini, is this the house where the Murmu family, so to say, still lives on, or is this a town that, or is this a house where the family had previously lived?
See, this is the particular house. I'll ask my VJ to show you. This is the house where Droupadi Murmu and her daughter, her husband initially, the entire family has lived over here for a long time since, you know, they came from Bhubaneswar and they landed up over here. Her husband was with Bank of India. He was a manager. The two sons who lost their lives early, and the daughter, everyone lives over here. Droupadi Murmu, until a month back, this was her residence where she lived with her daughter and her family and her brother Tarini Sen Tudu. So, it's just time where we can tell that, this particular house is the house of the next president of India. And the people over here, they have already chosen her to be the next president. It's just time which is just waiting for a confirmation. Back to you, Pooja.
Right, absolutely fantastic visuals there, because remember, the cameras of national media wouldn't really reach a village there in Rairangpur in Mayurbhanj district. And for a moment like this, it's all dance, fireworks and celebration for them. As we are looking at these visuals of laddus and mithais, because it's only the start, remember, through the evening and specifically after the announcement, we are being told that hundreds of kilograms of mithai has been prepared. They're just waiting to unwrap the packages when the announcement has started. But the BJP leaders are already playing the drums. As I can see, that looks like it is from the Jammu region, and Kavinder Singh of the BJP playing the dhol there with a photograph of Droupadi Murmu in Jammu in yellow. That's Kavinder Singh. He's a former minister also in the JNK government. He himself has started the celebration already, because the NDA is of course clearly projecting it as in many ways a victory celebration for them as well, because they're the ones who had nominated and put forth the name of Droupadi Murmu. But across the country in several parts, that celebration has been initiated. But of course some firecrackers and some mithai is being saved, and that will be after the official announcement. You're also looking at a previous visual of Droupadi Murmu at one of the public gatherings, because remember, as our sources are telling us on the ground, our colleagues are saying that till the time there's going to be an official announcement, Droupadi Murmu has decided not to be officially seen in public. She would want to wait for that opportunity. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and of course all senior netas of the BJP will be meeting her, but that's only once the final round of the counting that is over. Right now you can see the numbers on your screen with across the country the voting that's been done. Clearly Droupadi Murmu is right now trending with the numbers. Yashwant Sinha trailing there. But that was expected, because NDA does have more numbers in the parliament as well. Let's take a look quickly at a ground report that has come in, and that is with her hometown. India Today is on the ground to help you bring the sentiment and the celebration. Remember, it is a history, not just for India, but most definitely for Mayurbhanj district.
To know about the life and stories of Droupadi Murmu, India Today arrived at Rairangpur in Orissa. We met several people who told us various stories about this particular lady who was once the governor of Jharkhand. Now, be it her friends, her family members, her former colleagues, even people who worked under her when she was a teacher had various stories to share about her.
Rairangpur in Mayurbhanj district of Odisha is proud to be the town that witnessed the rise of Droupadi Murmu. She worked here as a teacher before becoming a councillor, an MLA, a minister, and then governor. More than 280 kilometers from the capital of Odisha, this is where she built her life after her elder daughter passed away.
She is a lady with a heart. On the one side, she is an iron lady. She would like to take strong action in one hand. In other, she would talk very politely and very compassionately with the public.
Droupadi Murmu's brother Tarini Sen Tudu lives in her house in Rairangpur while the rest of the family keeps visiting.
वो like any other mother, कभी-कभी strict भी है, कभी-कभी soft भी है, और she is like any other mother.
In the school where she worked as a teacher between 1994 and 1997, she is remembered fondly as Didi, or elder sister.
रूल रेगुलेशन भी करूथिले आ समस्तंकर सहित भल संपर्क भी रहउतिला आ छोट छोट छुआ मान को भी भल व्यवहार भी करूथिले समस्त स्टाफ मान का सहित भी भल सब संपर्क रहितला लोक मान का सहित भी भल सब संपर्क रहितला.
The school premises that we see over here is also testimony to the fact that before 1997, before she became an elected representative, she was a teacher. And the school is still here, students are here, the school has expanded, its classes are still on. However, what is not over here is Droupadi Murmu, who was a teacher and she used to teach all these subjects in this middle school.
Nearly half an hour drive away is the village where Droupadi Murmu was born. Uparbeda village has changed since her childhood. The school she studied in has grown to become a high school with smart classes. Back in the 60s, it was only a primary school.
Droupadi Murmu had to leave the village of Uparbeda. The reason was that the school that she went to in this particular village was a primary one. That means it was there till class 5. And that is the reason why she had to leave for Bhubaneswar for further studies. In 2022, things have completely changed over here in this particular village of Uparbeda.
Droupadi Murmu's native house is a well-constructed one compared to the kacha house of the neighborhood.
रात में उन लोग फोन किए थे तो मेरा हो रहा है राष्ट्रपति तो हम लोग को बहुत खुश महसूस हुआ.
Droupadi Murmu is the second scheduled tribe candidate and the first tribal woman to have been nominated for the post of President of India. This remote village in Odisha waits to celebrate her journey to the President's house. With Suryagni Roy, Bureau Report, India Today.
Are we now looking at Madam President very soon? Now the NDA is leading after the second round of counting. Droupadi Murmu has got over 4.83 lakh votes already compared to 1.89 lakh votes for opposition candidate Yashwant Sinha. But while one more round of counting is still left, celebrations have already started. We can see laddus and mithais, we can see firecrackers, but we can also see a lot of dance and dhol that is being played specifically in her hometown. But the official announcement is awaited while the preparations are underway at the Delhi BJP headquarters. There's a victory celebration expected. Then Prime Minister Narendra Modi is also scheduled to meet Droupadi Murmu. Remember, Prime Minister Modi was also present right when the nomination papers were being filed. But remember, amid all of this, that young girl from Rairangpur in Odisha, today where these celebrations are on, has made its way to the Raisina Hill, or almost there, so to say. Paulumi Saha is in Delhi, where the BJP is planning mega celebrations. Now, BJP, while has and NDA decided to come forth with this name, Paulumi, what was the messaging? When we look at all of this, we look at the celebrations, but there's clearly a political messaging here as well. What do you think that was? Because after Ramnath Kovind, where there was also, we know how there was this aspiration fact of a Dalit president, now a tribal president. What do you think was the reason with NDA's decision here?
Basically, the NDA wanted to send out the message that it is representative of all sections of society. India has not seen a tribal president in its entire history, and hence this is going to be a big momentous occasion, and that is obviously going to be credited to the NDA that they chose a candidate from the tribal community. As was said in that report that we just aired for our viewers, this is only the second scheduled tribe candidate who was nominated for the president's post, and today, of course, she, in fact, Droupadi Murmu, a tribal, stands very much on the cusp of, in fact, entering Rashtrapati Bhavan. So it's looking like a possibility at the moment that India is going to get its first ever tribal candidate, and that is the message that the NDA obviously wanted to send out. Like you said, with President Ramnath Kovind, they did send out the message that they, in fact, have sent a Dalit candidate into the Rashtrapati Bhavan, and with, of course, Droupadi Murmu again, they are sending out the message that they're representing the tribal community as well. So they are basically representative of all sections of society. Of course, their critics and opponents will say that this is, of course, with an eye on the massive tribal vote bank that, of course, Gujarat has, for instance, because Gujarat goes to polls by the end of this year, and that is what the BJP's focus is at the moment, and that is the criticism that the BJP will, of course, face. But the fact is that they have, in fact, created history in the way that Droupadi Murmu right now looks well poised to enter Rashtrapati Bhavan, India likely to get its first tribal president in its 15th Rashtrapati.
And a tribal president who's no rubber stamp. Remember, we're talking about a woman who has worked her way up in public life, getting elected in the state assembly, also becoming one of the most significant MLAs, also has been awarded, importantly was also a governor of Jharkhand. All of this while countering personal tragedies of losing her husband and 2 sons, while ensuring her surviving daughter gets the best education and upbringing. What we see are these visuals coming in from Odisha. On one side, women dancing to the dhol and, of course, celebrating, while an official announcement is awaited. The men, of course, all dressed up also and celebrating that their village is right now being spoken about as Droupadi Murmu, whose hometown is Bajarang in Mayurbhanj in Odisha, is all set to enter into the Rashtrapati Bhavan. First tribal president for the country. And right now, celebrations are starting at different parts. Remember, a lot of it is, of course, the BJP cadre that has organized. But nevertheless, specifically for, as you can see from the women in Odisha, it is also about representation. The Santhal tribe from which Droupadi Murmu hails to be mentioned here. Let's listen into some reactions coming in.
आदिवासी महिला द्रौपदी मुर्मू को माननीय प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी और योगी जी उनके सहयोग से राष्ट्रपति चुना गया, जो आदिवासियों के लिए बहुत उत्साहित और खुशी की बात है। अपार खुशी है कि आज हमारे वर्ग के, हमारे आदिवासी समुदाय से
who's at the residence. Follow me. There are jalebis being made, mithais being enjoyed, the firecrackers are being burst. All of this, of course, a part of the celebration. But what do the numbers look like right now for Droupadi Murmu, for Yashwant Sinha? And I can see that behind you as well, the BJP is ensuring that they do play cautious right now. People are ready, but they've still not started the cheer at the Delhi residence.
Well, not really. Obviously, over here they're trying to maintain protocol and they're trying to maintain the sense of decorum as far as the official declaration of results are concerned. Like I said, the Prime Minister will arrive here only when the official results are declared inside the Parliament complex, where the counting is still underway. I'll ask Himanshu to, of course, stay on the pictures behind me while I give you a sense of what the last round of counting, of course, in fact, declared. Basically, after the second round of counting, that's the second round of counting. First round, all the MP votes were counted, where Droupadi Murmu polled 540 votes and Yashwant Sinha polled 208. There were 748 valid MP votes that were cast in this election. After the second round, which basically includes 10 state assemblies where in the alphabetical order, so it went up to Jharkhand from A, starting with, of course, Andhra Pradesh. It's gone up to Jharkhand, and what we know is that a total valid number of 1,138 votes were cast, of which Murmu got 809 and Sinha got 329. Now, if we look at the grand total of valid votes, Murmu has polled 1,349 and Sinha has polled 530.
So keep tracking all the latest. Paulami Saha telling us about the numbers. But I want to wrap up 6 p.m. Prime today with these visuals. It is Rang in Rayrangpur today, because their girl is set to become the first tribal president of the country, a woman who's worked her way up. So the cake is right now being smeared over the supporters' faces, not being had, because clearly there will be a lot of cake for later as well. We'll be tracking the celebration and the final announcement at 7 p.m. Stay tuned. Thank you for watching.